another really cold one.
Cold weather at the CBSDC.com Weather Center, WUSA 9. First alert, meteorologist Howard Bernstein.
Gusts early over 30 miles an hour with highs in the upper teens, maybe 20 if you're lucky. Wind chills, though, this morning could be in the 5 below to 15 below range in the metro. Tonight, clear.
All right, we're on our way back to the spring-influenced area. Today, I think the forecasted high is 17 degrees, so we're probably going to do this in shifts where we go fishing for, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours, and then get back to the car. So we're spot hitting. We're just going to hit that one area and warm up periodically through the day because, you know, on a day like today, we definitely stand a very high likelihood of becoming hypothermic. So we will warm up in the car several times today and hopefully catch a bunch of fish. Fishing with my buddy Jed today. Dude, you've been out a couple times here recently. Have you done so far this year, this brutal winter we're having?
Well, the last 2 trips I've been out, I've gotten skunked both times. I did have a fish on the last week, but I missed it.
You were fishing with ice in the river, weren't you?
Yeah, dodging icebergs coming down one part of the confluence where I was fishing. The 2 trips before that, though, we had a real successful day with 34-degree water. I got a 20-inch smallmouth. Nice. And a 22.5-inch walleye, which was a good fish.
Did you eat it?
Yes, I did.
They're good.
And a couple that were in the 18 range. So
sweet.
I'm excited to come down here today and fish this spring-influenced.
Yeah, we got lots of numbers last time, and in that, you know, couple upper teens fish, and that one that was over 20. So I know there's some bigger ones in here. Just a matter of coming across them at the right time. I'm gonna try. I've been making these little spinnerbaits. They're crappie spinnerbaits, almost like a beetle spin, but you know, designed more like a spinnerbait. You're gonna try your little swim bait, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I will.
Cool.
Been pouring some darker colors that I like to throw a lot, even in cold water. So give it a shot. Hopefully we stay warm enough to catch some fish today.
That's gonna be the big thing. I mean, it is just, you know, what do they call it? The polar vortex is back, and we're gonna have to kind of keep an eye on each other to see if we display any of the signs of hypothermia, and to kind of call each other on it. You look for the the umbles. You mumble, stumble, fumble, or grumble. Any of those things, when we see them in each other, it'll be like, okay, we need a break. Let's hop up in the car and warm up until we're more functional and able to catch some good fish again. These are some of the little spinnerbaits that I've made. I actually made these with the idea of taking them trout fishing. I got that tiny little hook on there. That should be a nice sticky hook. These I made with the Do It mold. I think it's called a crappie spinner, but it kind of reminds me of beetle spin. Put the soft plastic on there that glows. We did well with the trout Sunday. And these are some of the jig heads. This is the one that I did well with last time we were here, but I'm gonna try, this is a football head with the same kind of screw lock in there. And I also gonna try the football head. This is a 16th ounce football head without the screw lock, and I used a much smaller hook on this one. At least all this snow makes it easy to drag the kayak.
what I'm doing here is throwing a 3 1/4 inch fluke that I poured. It's very similar to Jeff's Mama Chug color, and it's rigged on an 1/8 ounce dragon head, and I applied these little sticky eyes and kind of dipped it in some clear plastisol afterwards, just dead sticking it along the bank. It's gotten a couple this morning already, so hopefully get a couple more. I started crafting, lure crafting when I was probably a kid. Started messing around with tackle, carving hard baits, painting different plugs, just kind of messing around with it overall. I think I first experienced decent success with spinnerbaits when I was young, just different skirt material and trying to learn how to tie. I just recently started pouring plastic within the last year, I would say, and it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun just getting creative with colors and profiles and shapes, and just recently started also making my own molds. So like Jeff said, this is the time of year that you have a little bit of downtime to mess around with it, and it's been good. It's been really good to take what you make out in the field or river and be successful with it.
Alright, got a nice one on the spinnerbait. One of the first casts for that spinnerbait I made for the trout fishing. He's running off some line. Yeah! I dropped it on the bottom. Almost, you know, when you fish spinnerbaits in cold weather like this, you almost want to tell yourself, hey, I got a jig here. And you let it sit on the bottom as though it were a jig. And then you come back to fishing it like a spinnerbait, almost like a swim jig. You know, you move it along and then let it sit on the bottom. Let it sit there 10 seconds, sometimes 20 seconds, and then move it a little further. Little crappie spinnerbait. All right, on that 1/8 ounce crappie spinnerbait. Tiny little Colorado blade I stuck on there. That one's a gold one. I got some hammered. A couple different blade combinations I got, mostly Colorado. So that's what I'm working with. Alright, I know there's some bigger ones in here, but it's nice to go tinkering with something, come up with an idea, that finesse crappie spinnerbait, and have it work. Alright. Let me show you this presentation. I'm casting it out. I'll let it fall. Just pendulum swing on taut line to the bottom. It's on the bottom. Move it a couple of feet. Let it sit. Move it a couple of feet. Let it sit. 1, 2, 3, 4. They could be looking at it right now, waiting for it to swim off. There's 10. Swim it a little bit. There it is on bottom, sitting. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You get the idea. Swim it about 3, 4 feet, keeping it close to the bottom. Lots of bottom contact. Up a little bit, down, sit. And as cold as it is, they'll watch it settle right down to the bottom and be hanging out right next to it. And as soon as it starts moving again, that's when that one hit. That's a little bit better fish. We've been getting a lot of dinks, but this is one of those spots that you know, they only go to when there's low flow. There's a deeper hole down below, but they move up into this. There is a little bit of a deep trench in here, but last time we were here, we had much higher flow. They were not in this area at all. So there are definitely low flow spots and high flow spots. This is a low flow spot.
This one's on a homemade swim bait, 3-inch kind of reaction innovation style mold with a 1/4 ounce dragon head. Real slow and steady retrieve with a pause in every probably about 3 or 4 seconds. Let's get another one. Yeah. Last few minutes of daylight here. The temperature's definitely dropped off. I just got my best of the day on a 3-inch swim bait. Jeff and I have been picking up 12 and 13-inch fish pretty steadily here within the last couple hours. And here we are at the last hour of daylight. And I've been throwing a 3-inch swim bait that I pour myself. And more or less this is just a bunch of colors combined from other plastics I've had left over with a little bit of gold at it. It's rigged on a 1/4 ounce dragon head. And we're fishing an embankment with a ledge, after a ledge system. Pretty much the first pool that we started in. We got 1 or 2 smaller ones out of it. And then picked up this 19-inch fish on a slow roll to a dead stick retrieve on a swim bait.
Glad to be home in a warm house. I think that was the coldest air temperature day that I've ever fished in. It's not the coldest water temperature I've fished in, but it was pretty brutal. The better fish that we caught, Jed's 19 at the end of the day, a couple that I caught on the spinnerbait, they had one thing in common, and I did a little illustration to show what that's about. Low and slow in the snow. Whether we were using the spinnerbait or Jed using the swim bait, we were kind of doing the same thing. You know, cast it up on the bank or wherever, let it flutter to the bottom, and then just let it sit there 10 seconds. You know, give it a little bit of a rip, move it a couple feet, and then let it sit another 25 seconds. You know, hop it another foot, give it another 15. You know, and so on. And you're keeping it near the bottom. And really, when we think of spinner baits and swim baits, we think of a retrieve that is put it out there, bring it back, put it out there, bring it back. And really, I have a backlash to thank for figuring this one out. I was fishing on a reservoir, and I put a short arm spinner bait out there in the middle, just chucked it a long way, and it backlashed. And as I was picking the backlash out, it was probably 2 minutes or more. I got it fixed, and as soon as I started ripping it, bam, there was a fish. And he had been sitting there the same way that I think when we put these lures down here, you know, they flutter to a stop, and I think they, you know, in that motion, you know, the flash or whatever it is about the lure, they see it. It takes them, you know, a long time to come over and check it out. It'll flutter along, and, you know, you let it sit there for 25 seconds. It might take them 15 seconds if they're 5 feet away to move over in cold water. And they'll just be sitting right over it. And as soon as it starts moving, it is usually when they jam it. So, you know, just because you have something that you traditionally fish with a cast and retrieve presentation, you know, think of it like a jig. Don't think about a spinnerbait or a swim bait. You know, you're pausing it up to 30 seconds and you're moving a short distance, keeping it close to the bottom, and you're just gliding it. You know, you can use this, you know, with spinner baits, swim baits, tube, chatter baits, grubs, any other jig and soft plastic combo. You know, you're just giving them the time to come over and check it out, and as soon as it starts moving, they're on top of it. So, low and slow in the snow.